Good evening, lovely tubers. White Mexican back again for another Market Watch Investments video. Actually, this is going to be more so a guidance on the uprising March 2021 Forbidden and Limited ban list. So we're getting the ban list here in a couple weeks, and a lot of players are super excited about it. Obviously, this is the current list. You guys know all about it. And these are going to be my personal selections that I'm going to be showcasing for you guys tonight, and I do hope that you enjoy. Getting things started tonight is going to be the Dragon Rulers. More specifically, the Secret Rare Tin promos. Of course, Tempest is unlocked now. This is at 1. There's also a Super Rare reprint, so this is the least, I guess, the least expensive to say, to a certain extent. Blaster and Title obviously are the fan favorites. Really amazing artworks, high rarity secret rares, and just really amazing cards in general. Red X is pretty cool too. This is going to be kind of more so like flash price review, so I'm not going to go too deeply. As you can see, I have a lot of tabs here, and it's going to be 3 different windows that I'm going to be going through. So these are just beyond collectability purposes, being that they are old school. 2013, we're talking about 8 years ago. Print promo tin secrets, and they have amazing artwork, amazing history merit behind the format. The whole Dragon Ruler and Spellbook format was just infamous and just a really great part of Yu-Gi-Oh history. There's a lot of going for these cards for all those things I mentioned before, and these 3 are still banned, and if they come off the list, regardless if they see play or not, there's going to be hype value behind that. So I would definitely check out these 3 secrets right here. Next is going to be Fiber Jar. So Fiber Jar is an insanely ancient card going all the way back to Gen 1, the original set. Legacy of Darkness as an ultra rare. There's also a Dark Beginning ultra rare. I'm sorry, this is a rare, a common, a rare. So I wouldn't really pay much attention to this. I mean, take of note, I mean, there's only 3 versions of this. This is insanely old for only having 3 prints. The commons are going for like 6+ starting market price. Again, infamous Legendary Collection, Joey's World, amazing set. Legendary Collection Kaiba, Legendary Collection 3 and 4 are my all-time favorite collection sets, and dip in and out of those all the time. Dark Beginning, Dawn a rare, and that's going for a couple over that, about 8. And then the original ultras here. This is a complete, just beyond this not coming off the list, it's a major collectible card because of how old it is, the infamy behind this card, the sheer fact that it's been on the list forever, has not seen the light of day ever since it got initially banned several years ago. And artwork is kind of so-and-so. It's kind of like a silly spaceship tree rocket launcher looking thing here. But anyway, unlikely played unlimiteds are going to be about 6 bones starting market price here for TCGP. Near mints go to almost about 9 bones. There's 3 pages here on the market, and the first edition is going to be lightly played for 17 bones. Well, actually, there's one here for about 14-ish bones for a lightly played first. And for near mint first edition, it's going to go up exponentially to about 44 bones for first edition near mint. So pretty cool stuff on that. Next is going to be Cyber Jar. So my personal favorites, of course, obviously, is the Duelist Pack Kaiba Ultimate Rares. Holding a pretty fat price point, though, so some healthier alternatives would be Hobby League 2, the Parallel Ultras. These look really great. And, of course, obviously, the original Gen 1 Magic Ruler, not Spell Ruler, but Magic Ruler. I don't know, some people like Spell Ruler. This didn't really technically get a first edition run print, and if it did, it was kind of just like a very small quantity. So I guess if there is such thing as first edition Spell Rulers, they're ungodly rare and expensive and all that. But for the most part, Magic Ruler has the original Magic stamps, and it came first, so it's older. So personal player preference would be Magic Ruler always. So these are going for pretty good money. Just out of curiosity, I do want to quickly see what the original print OG first editions are going for. Even though the Ultimates and the Parallel Ultras from Hobby League look fantastic, I still very much appreciate this original print. There's actually one right here on the first page for about 4 bones after you factor in shipping for a lightly played first edition. And for a near mint, there's about 4 pages here on TCGP. For a near mint first edition, we're going to have to dig a little deeper. It's actually not that bad. It goes for about 6, 7-ish bones. About 7, a little over 7, a little over 6 for near mint first editions once you factor in shipping. So really cool stuff on that. It'd be so fun to have this card again. Again, White Mexican Theory, I believe everything comes off the ban list. It's just a matter of Konami decides to rat it or not. So, food for thought. Fairy Tale Snow is going to be next. So this is an extremely powerful card. I think if this comes off the list, I don't think it'll come straight to 2 or 3. I think it'll definitely be a very generous gesture if it comes to 1, if that. This is obviously the highest rare, super rare, dawning from OTS Pack 5. For the longest time, this card used to be like relatively cheap. It used to be like $1. You pretty much like a bone all across the board all day long. It wasn't until about I don't know, I'd say maybe like 2-ish years ago, the price and fluctuation has gone up to where it's at right now, about 4 or 5 bones pretty much all across the board. And there's 4 pages available for this, but really great artwork. Again, a nice OTS super rare, so really great rarity, and just a completely blowout card. Next is going to be Level Eater. So technically, highest rarity high Archie would be the super rares, super rare 2010 Duelist Pack Collection Tin promos, which are going anywhere from a bone to about 4 or 5 bones. Personally, I would go for the Duel Terminal 5. If you guys have been watching my content, I'm a huge avid fan of Duel Saga and Duel Terminal. They are discontinued. Konami has not pushed any communication of reproducing these sets, and they're just insanely popular within the player base for aesthetically just being amazing, and just they're no longer being manufactured, so they're already well onto their way into the collector's market, in my personal opinion, and have been for several years. But there's still a lot of cards that are DT that you can still pick up for relatively cheap, like this. This is under a bone right here, and there's a 12 stack here for under a bone, so a 29 stack here for under the bone. So there's plenty of availability, 3+ pages or 3 pages here on the market. And this just looks gorgeous. This is a really great card. Who knows if it's going to come off this list or not. It may not. If it comes off, it may get ratted. It doesn't really matter. The sheer fact that this has really great history, it's a really awesome card. It's got relatively good artwork. I like the level star here. And that it's a DT makes this an ideal investment. And it's insanely, insanely cheap. Which is the most important part, of course. So Maxi, of course, everyone is anticipating this card to come at least to 1. I mean, OCG has 3. They've had a whopping 3 playset for quite some time now. We have a lot of great rarities of this. Obviously, Astral Pack 4 has the Godly Ultimate Rares, which have a godly price point. The original Maxis, original Secret Rares out of Storm of Ragnarok. My personal print, I would much rather have these first edition secrets than ultimates. That's just me personally, player preference. I really do enjoy Secret Rare a lot. The ultimate rares do look nice. It's just the card is so damn expensive. Like, no one's ever gonna play it. Like, literally, this is already like borderline a $400 card, and it's banned when this comes off the list, and it will come off the list. Everyone knows it. We've been anticipating it for years now. We just don't really know when it's gonna happen, but it's definitely going to happen. In my opinion, relatively sooner than later, probably. This card's going to continue to increase. And I just, again, White Mexican Theory, like, me personally, I don't play with high rarity. I love high rarity. I own high rarity. I collect high rarity. I sell high rarity. I trade high rarity. High rarity is great. There's nothing wrong with high rarity. I recommend that you guys invest in high rarity because high rarity holds great value in the long term. But when you play with it, it loses value. Your near mints go to lightly played, and then your lightly playeds can go to maybe even worse depending on the conditions. So, personally, this secret rare looks really, really great, specifically for the first editions, and it's very pricey as well. But these supers, I mean, I personally, like, my kind of target thing is super rare. That's kind of like, I like to have hollow foil. I like to play with hollow foil, so like I'll play with like super rare ideally. And the super rares here, I checked them out before, they're roughly around 9-10 bones, which is pretty much like what they've been at for quite a while now. For the longest time, 5 bones a piece, and I was picking up like crazy, and I picked up an abundance of these, specifically the 2012 super rare promos, because I believe, in my personal opinion,
Player preference, this is the most ideal print of Maxi because it's still super rare, it's still holofoil, still looks nice, and if you play with it, it becomes lightly played. It doesn't really matter because, when this comes off the list, it's going to increase exponentially. But right now, it's a $9-10 card. That's really not that big of a deal. Of course, you have the common as well, which is even more affordable, but it's ugly. It's just not. It does not look as good as super rare, and that's why I'm really big about having, in particularly, hand traps and super rare, because hand traps recycle in and out of the meta, and you want to have something kind of nice to look at. So super rare will kind of give you like that aesthetic reflect to go with, but at the same time, you're really not losing too much value when you make your cards lightly played with playing with them when you're doing that stuff. So ideally, I would definitely, this is like every time I have an opportunity to trade for these, I always go for the super print personally, but the first edition secret rares are definitely ideal for any collector in my opinion. Magical Scientist is going to be next. So 2 prints, another Gen 1, very, very nostalgic old card. This card would look so gorgeous in a secret rare. I really, really wish we'd get this card in a secret rare. Of course, there's original first edition commons from Magician's Force, a very great, highly sought after collector's Gen 1 set. And then Dark Revelations. I don't normally go for Dark Res, but I respect and I understand, player preference. There are players that are really into Dark Revelations and maybe even some into Dark Beginning as well. There's some cards in Dark Beginning that I'm into, but some people like this. I mean, technically, it is a higher rarity. I mean, it's 1 rarity higher as a rare compared to the common, so it's completely up to you. These used to be significantly cheaper. They used to be like around bone, if not even that. And I was buying them up like last summer. I bought several copies. Whenever I guess the last list was the best ban list before I picked up these, because this on Level Leader, I was a big advocate, I guess, of picking up Magical Scientists, the Dark Rev versions, and the dual terminal Level Leaders, because that was a big part of my selections for the last list. So completely up to you guys on that. Masterpiece, so True Draco, it's still a thing, still out there. It's hit relatively hard. This is completely at 0 right now, but it's got really great artwork. This still to the day is a solo print, and it goes without saying, majority of players know by now, solo print secret rares, for the most part, are an abundance of value. And when you sit on them, it just continues like a stack of fat gold coins. It just gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier as time goes on. And this is a very powerful card. This is a really big, relatively fanboy deck. There's a lot of people that like this. So this is going for really great money. I mean, lightly played unlimited, starting market price around 15 bones. First editions they played, they're around 17 bones. If you want a near mint first edition, they go for about 21 bones. 4 pages of availability on this. Next is going to be Orcust Harp Horror. So this is the higher rarity reprint, super rare, out of OTS 11. Really cool artwork on this. I hate Orcust. I really hate the deck. When the deck was really popular and full power, I really hated playing against it. It was really, very overpowered at that time, in my personal opinion. But it's taken a lot of hits and got really watered down. And the deck is relatively cheap right now. There's really not too many of any of the cards besides maybe the Ultimate Rare Galateas, or however you pronounce it. That's probably the most expensive card. But this is a really, really good card. And again, I really, really enjoy super rares, especially OTS super rare. So this is a thing, and it's pretty much like 2-ish, 3 bones when you factor in shipping. And there's 4 pages on the market. There's a 5 stack right here, and a couple other stacks over here, so completely up to you guys on that one. Next is going to be the legendary, the infamous bird Yata-Garasu. So just like Morphing Jar and Cyber Jar and all these very, very nostalgic Gen 1 Yu-Gi-Oh cards that have just were initially banned in some of the first ban lists ever in the entire game here at the TCG. And they have just not seen the light of day. So they're very, very old, they're very, very infamous, and they come from a very just nostalgic, amazing piece of history in our game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So really great history merit behind that. There's 2 other prints, both are common, I believe. One is from Retro Prax, so obviously there's going to be great collectability behind that. I want to say the other one is Dark Beginning. Dark Beginning doesn't have first edition run prints, same with Dark Revelation. So that's kind of another reason to kind of piggyback of why my mentality is kind of low rarity for high dollar on Dark Revelations and all that, the reprint stuff, because that's what bothers me. Like I little to never, I mean almost like never, like 99.9% of the time, I do not invest in unlimited copies. If there's a first edition, I always go for first edition. I find a way to get first edition because, and I guess like an obscure exception would be like the original secret rare prints of Christia. I have several prints of unlimited Christias, but they're secret and they're really good value because Christia is just like a monsterly card, and it's really, really hard to find those in secret rare, especially now, and even more so for the first editions. But like really, it's like very minor stuff like that is really kind of the only exceptions to policy I make for unlimited cards. So anyway, side tangent on that. But Yata-Garasu, again, an amazing secret rare, and the infamous Yata lock format way back in the day in Cookie Cutter Chaos. Really great stuff. Unlimited, lightly played, starting market price of 30 bones. If goes up to about 45 for near mint unlimited, but we're not really concerned about these because they're not first editions. I mean, their value, they're good money. If you're looking to sell and flip, trade for a lightly played unlimited and sell it, you can, probably find some value in that. But this is more so from a collector's aspect, being ancient, being a high rarity secret rare, having infamous history, really only not having any other real competitive reprints, being that they're just commons. This is really good stuff, and first edition is going to be around 136 bones. These are for lightly playeds. It quickly jumps up to 230 after that for the second lightly played first. Near mint first editions, the very first one on TCG, starting market price is 300 plus bones. So yeah, around 300 bones for a near mint first edition. So surprisingly enough, this is going to sound crazy, but this is not stopping. This is going to continue to go up. This 300 bones, you're going to wish this is a lot of money. Personally, I'm happy. I think I have maybe 2, maybe max 3 of these first edition. Mine are probably more towards lightly played near mint. Unfortunately, I had them since I was a kid, a long time ago when I originally played back in the day. I never got rid of my old stuff. So it's completely up to you, but you can kind of see it just continues to trickle up after that, and there's only one more page. So this is and just an amazing collector's target, and has been for some time now. Thunder Dragon Colossus is going to be next. So you'll notice I'm not showcasing the Ultra Rare, the OTS Ultra Rares. I'm showcasing the original OG Soul Fusion Secret Rares. I've always, and again, I like Ultra Rares, but for the most part, I tend to, if there's an Ultimate, there's a secret, original secret first edition from a core booster set, I'm more than likely going to choose or prefer the original first edition secrets because they're more affordable and sometimes they look better in my personal opinion. Regardless of the fact, this is an amazing card. There's a relatively large fanboy basis of Thunder Dragon players out there. I mean, it's a really good deck. They have a really cool artwork. They have really nice rarities. A lot of them came back in the Prismatic Secret Rares with the tin reprints. And Colossus is just a monsterly card, just one of the greatest fusion extra deck monsters that we have to date. Really, really great. And for the longest time, these first editions, like lightly played near mint all across the board, were 10 bones. We get one here for about 10 bones here for lightly played. It's a 1 stack, and then it just continues to trickle up after that. Then it goes like well above the $10 price point after that, and there's just not a lot of availability. Only 3 pages, so this is starting to trickle up. And for the longest time, I was really, really surprised that this even fell down and maintained, and even that this one right here, this lightly played, is sitting at right just around 10 bones. Anything for 10 bones and less is like an insane steal for this card, and even maybe like trickling up to maybe even $15-$20 now is kind of the market price. That that $10 price range is kind of gone now. It's like more like 12, 13, 14, 15 range. I think soon enough it'll go quickly into 20. And, who knows? I'm not saying that this is going to come off the list right now. Again, I believe that everything comes off the list eventually. And that's food for thought. Again, one of the most infamous fusion cards that we have right now on the market personally. So next is going to be Firewall Dragon. So this is a 2-prong attack. This is really great because there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of talk about, you know, Japan and the OCG. It got errated and it got released off the list and all that. But what's great about Firewall Dragon is it's a huge anime card. And it has really great collectability. It has really amazing history merit. Back in the day in Danger Dark World, there was a loop that was like really pretty treacherous, and it's got really dark competitive history towards that. It also has fantastic artwork, really amazing artwork. Obviously, being original print of a secret rare. You know, there's several different prints of this now, or a couple different prints. No, just 2 prints actually. We have the mirrored secret rare from the mega pack, the 2018 mega pack, and then the original OG secrets from Code of the Duelist. On top of that, Code of the Duelist was an amazing transition set. Code of the Duelist was the set that dawned Link monsters in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just like Generations Force was the premier set of XYZs. Just like, was it the Duelist Genesis was the premier set, I believe, if I have my history correct, of Synchro Monsters. These transition sets bring exponential value and history merit to these cards and kind of the time periods of these formats. So really great stuff. So not only is this, I'm not saying it's going to be a really playable card, especially because it's going to get errated, because it already has been errated in the original OCG game. But for all those things I mentioned before, like, you know, those 4 or 5 things, this is an ideal card. And for the longest time, this card used to be like 3 bones, 5 bones. And my rule of thumb was I was always picking these up at 5 bones. Every time I can get a near mint or a lightly played first edition original OG print from Code of the Duelist, I would pick them up. And unfortunately, I didn't get that many. It was several years ago when I was living in Japan, was kind of when I went on a big crusade of picking up these OG's first edition. And, you know, it's seen relatively good growth. There's 4 pages here on the market. Lightly played unlimiteds, they're going for almost around 12 bones. There is 1 first edition on the first page, and it starts at a marking price of almost 14 bones. That's for lightly played. If you want a near mint first edition, it's going to go all the way up to about 17 plus bones. So it hasn't had exponential growth yet, but as we continue to progress in the game and Code of the Duelist gets further and further away and very older and harder to find, as well as these original prints, this value is just going to grow with the collectability of the card. Next is going to be Hevel Metaphos Electrumite. So I don't really know much about pendulums. I never really liked it. It's definitely my least favorite extract mechanic of like all time. Really not a big fan of it. But this is a generic searcher, and of course, being a high rarity secret rare, of course there was the mega pack secret rare mirror versions as well, and this is already going pretty good. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, so I apologize. So one thing I wanted to say in the beginning of the video is this is this is the worst time to invest in ban cards or cards that are hit, that are limited or semi-limited. This is like the ideally worst time to invest in ban cards, because the ban list is in a couple weeks. Everyone is kind of trying to pick up the last minute purchases of what they think is going to come off the ban list or get lifted off the list or whatever it may be. The reason why I'm making this video is because I kind of want to get in action. I want to participate. I think it's really fun when Yu-Gi YouTubers go in and they do their ban list prediction videos, and it's kind of like a seasonal thing. It's, you know, it's like Halloween. It's Halloween, you know, Halloween in October. It's a fun little festive event for us Yu-Gi-Oh players, and that's the only reason why I'm doing this right now. Ideally, White Mexican Theory, I believe the best time to go in and buy and invest in these ban cards is when things don't come off the list, and not immediately after the list drops, but like a few weeks, maybe like a month to like a month and a half after everything completely cools down. Prices really start to plummet, and that's like the ideal time, is about, I would say, about a month to a month and a half after the ban list is like the ideal time to go in and get these cards. But, you know, I'm just trying to have some fun and give you guys a little show here. So continuing on, Heavy Metaphos Electrumite. So starting market price unlimiteds is going to be around 18 bones. And those are for near mint unlimiteds. And then first editions, going all the way straight to near mints, it's going to be roughly around 21 bones. So 3 pages availability on that. So if you're a pendulum player, that's for you. Ancient Fairy Dragon is going to be next. So, of course, there's an infamous, very, very amazing high dollar first Ghost Rare version out of the original Ancient Prophecy, which is really great. And there's not really much of anything. These other ones wouldn't really pay much of anything. Maybe a first edition. I mean, with the first edition Ultras, they've got really like big shoes to fill competing against, being from the same set against the Ghost Rare. But because Ancient Prophecy is very old, and maybe the first editions could find some leeway into the collector's market. Let's see, the first edition is a lightly played. It's roughly around 6.5 bones. So I mean, honestly, for being just an ultra rare, I still think that's pretty expensive. I mean, maybe if you could like pick up a first edition lightly played for like 3 bones, maybe that would be a good break to invest in, with maybe some increased values as this card continues to get older. But ideally, in my personal opinion, I've been talking about this for a while because I'm a really big avid fan of like old school secret rare promos. And this 2009 was a long time ago. 2009, we're talking about like 11 years ago. And this is the only secret rare print. And, you know, even though there is a ghost, and I believe I want to say there's an ultimate rare too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's how those packs work back in the day. There was ultimate and ultimates and ghosts alike in these sets, but I can't remember. But anyway, and this has gone up a little bit. It's not gone up tremendously, but we see the first late plays are roughly around 5-ish bones. And they're all pretty much one stack, though, so take note of that. There's really not an abundance on the market anymore, and that goes to about, well, let's see here, and that goes to about almost under, a little bit over 8 bones for near mints, and there's only 3 pages available. So it's, you know, and the same thing, like if you check, like probably in one of my next few videos here, I really like to go and recycle through the tin promos. Obviously, Stardust Dragon and Black Rose, the original tin secrets, are holding even a lot higher grade, being, you know, in some of the most infamous Synchro Monster Extra Deck cards of all time. So I think that Ancient Fairy Dragon is not on Black Rose and Stardust Dragon for the level for the secret rare tin promos, but it's definitely like the next runner up in my personal opinion. MX Saber Evoker is going to be next. This is the original Order of Chaos secret rare. There's a lot of different really great prints of this. We have a mirrored secret rare of one of the Battles of Legends. There's the Duelist Saga Ultra, which is really great. Again, still to this own merit today, Duelist Saga is the only set to have that special like lightsaber ultra rarity, foil rarity. And anyway, Duelist Saga is amazing. You invest in Duelist Saga. There's a lot of great stuff in Duelist Saga. And anyway, this card, the biggest thing about this is Order of Chaos is really, really old, and even though there is another secret rare reprint, this is the OG, where people are going to desire this more, being the original secret rare, and this card is insanely cheap. I mean, there's no first editions. There used to be a lot more of this on the market, so this is starting to dwindle, so take note of that. But the first edition, okay, so I think someone actually like literally just bought some of these, because I could have swore there was some first editions that were left for like $2. And there was a pretty fat stack too. But we are in pre-banless season. You know, this is kind of like everyone's running around scrambling like on Christmas Eve, doing all their last Christmas shopping. So not surprised to see that, because, you know, two bones for first edition print of this is very, very, very affordable. Anyway, so now the new market price is 7 bones for this, which I still think is, you know, not terrible. It's significantly higher than 2 bones now, but this is just something to take note of. Lavalval Chain is going to be next. So ideally, you know, goes without question, the ultra rare dual terminals. Again, dual terminals out of the print, really, really great stuff. This is going to always has been for a while, being that, you know, it's the highest rarity in dual terminal, being ultra rare and being DT itself. I would not discredit the secret rare though. Hidden Arsenal 7 look very, very nice. Again, you always want to go for first editions on those, and this has just been a card that has been highly anticipated. Probably almost to the point as where like Vanities and Max C, it's kind of almost on the same level. People have been waiting for it for a long time. So number 86 is going to be next. This is insanely cheap, and this didn't get banned too long ago, so there's not much chance of this coming off the list anytime soon, but who knows? Time will tell. We never know when things. Konami's relatively unpredictable with their selections, and this is a Prismatic Secret Rare out of World Superstars. I need to cover this set. There's a really cool, like before the last two tins, we only got Prismatic Secrets in like really old school game promos, and then World Superstars came. World Superstars was like the first side set that came in the TCG that we got that reproduced non-promo Prismatic Secret. So first of a kind, really good history merit behind that for that. And this card is just really, really good, really, really banned, and you know, it's very, very cheap. So, and there's an abundance on the market here. There's 5+ pages. There's not really a lot. There's a 7 stack here for a bone a piece, and it's pretty much a bone all across the board, and there's 5+ pages. So just wanted to show that really quick. Next is going to be Wind Up Carrier Zen Mighty. Of course, there's Ultras, and this is the highest rarity as the Ultimates. Obviously, the Ultimates look gorgeous on this. I really, really love Ultimates, especially in the XYZ and XYZ monsters. Black is my favorite color, and XYZs are my favorite extra deck mechanic, and they pop really, really well in Ultimate Rare, and it just looks really great. So, starting market price for these is going to be 10 bones for lightly played, and then near mints go to about 17-ish bones, but we don't care about that because if you're gonna go all out, go Ultimate Rare, you gotta go first edition, and first edition lightly played is gonna be roughly around 22 bones, and then near mint goes to about 26. Again, 5 pages available on that. Okay, so that was a lot. This is gonna be a pretty lengthy video. I'm going to move on to the next window here. So Magic Ruler has the heaviest amount of banned Magic cards in all of the sets. Like pretty much if Magic card is banned, it's going to be in this set. We got Delinquent Duo, we got Snatch and Steal, we got Giant Trinade, we have the Forced Century, Painful Choice, Confiscation, Upstart Goblin, which is not banned, but it's limited to 1 right now, which I'll get into this later on. I think this is an amazing investment for the Secret Slayer Supers first edition. But all of these cards that I mentioned are not only amazing old school Gen 1 collectability value holding cards, they're also banned, and if they come off the list, I mean, Snatch and Steal came off the list for like one single format and then immediately got banned again, which was really sad. I really love this card. And besides them being just insanely collectible, insanely old, really, really amazing artwork for all of these cards, ideally, the ones I would focus on the most, I think personally have the best chance of coming off the list soonest, would be Giant Trinade and, well, the other one was Heavy Storm, but Heavy Storm is Metal Raider, so we'll get into that later on. So anyway, check them out. Delinquent Duo, obviously there's a secret rare reprint from Legendary Collection Kaiba, which looks really great too. But you know, collectability is going to be, you know, more towards, for the most part, the first edition Ultras, but those are ungodly expensive. So I would check out first edition Secrets as well. Those are also really good money too. This Snatch and Steal, Forceful Century, Confiscation, and of course I'm going to get into Upstart Goblin in a little bit here. So Heavy Storm is next. So Hobby League 2 Parallel Ultras look amazing. These are anywhere between 5 and roughly around 19 bones. Of course, we have a Dark Beginning Super, Metal Raider Super Rare, which is actually like the best one in my personal opinion, more specifically for the first editions. They're like ungodly hard to find these. I don't even think I have a single copy. I know I have original Super First Edition Magic Ruler Giant Trinade. I don't even think I have a single copy of the first edition Metal Raiders, but there's also the Gen 1 Gold Series 2008, which is really, really nice, and yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. But what I want to check out ideally is going to be, because I'm very, very curious what the OG prints, and again with the Magic Stamp, the Gen 1 Magic Stamp era Yu-Gi-Oh here. So really, Unlimiteds are not going to be much of anything. Like always, they're just like, you know, a couple bones here and there. But for the first editions, there's actually quite a bit here. So the first edition is lightly played for 28 bones, and then it quickly jumps up to about 50 bones, and then There is some near mint Spanish for 51 if you guys like foreign cards, and then the first English near mint is going to be around 63 ish bones, and then it quickly trickles up after that. So anyway, really, really great stuff. Amazing artwork. Just a complete powerhouse card, and it's kind of I think it's come off the ban list like once or twice already. All right, next is going to be Royal Impression. So obviously there's a dual terminal common, which I think is the best version, and the price reflect. I mean, apparently there's only 8 listings. This can go anywhere between 5 and 11 bones. And I guess so with this being so expensive, maybe if you guys want to consider looking into the original first edition exclusive rares from Legacy of Darkness. Again, this is just an insanely old school Floodgate, really cool old school artwork, and it's a very powerful card. So these are just, and it's banless season, so you never know. I've invested not relatively heavy. I think maybe have like 9-ish copies, maybe 12 copies of this that I've bought several years ago, because again, my whole DT Duelist Saga campaign had been pretty much going on since like 2016. I've really been investing heavily in those sets. Next is going to be Trap Dust Shoot. So of course there's the Champion Pack 6 Super Rare, which is holding a really fat price tag because it's a Super Champion Pack. Of course, there's the DT versions, which I personally have. I want to say I think I maybe have like 3 of these or so. This is my favorite personally. I mean, the Supers look very, very nice, even though it is just a Super Rare. It's Champion Pack Super Rare. Insanely collectible, insanely old, insanely nostalgic. Really, really great. And then, of course, you have the original Pharaonic Guardian commons, which looks like there's even going up to 5 bones, probably for like the near mint first editions or something. So do not discredit the first edition original prints from Pharaonic Guardian being very, very old. But ideally, I think the best ones obviously would be the dual terminal ones. And if you want to go like big baller status, of course, there's the super rares. And we kind of got the same treatment for Dust Shoot for Ultimate Offering Champion Pack 4 down to Super Rare, which is holding, fat price pack here. And then there's a plethora of the Duelist League promos. I don't know anything about Duelist League. I never have invested or collected in them. They're relatively worth an abundance of value here and there, depending on what the card is, but I don't personally invest in them myself, so I can't really speak on them. And then, of course, we have a DT Rare here, ranging between 4 and 9. Ideally, this would be my personal favorite version, being that it is DT, and it's not even common. It's rare DT, which is really cool. This was a censorship, by the way, too, so OCG completely got a utterly superior, like, blood sacrifice-looking artwork, which is really cool. Next is going to be Vanity's Emptiness. Of course, talk about Maxi, have to talk about Vanity's Emptiness. Everyone's talking about the first edition Secret Rares, but what I want to talk about is the Secret Forces Super Rare First Editions. Again, when this card comes off the list, it's going to be a relatively expensive card, and it's going to be a very popular card. It's an amazing Floodgate. And being that these are super rares, they still, they're not going to look as nice. I get it. It's not as fancy as the secret rares, but these are insanely cheap. They're still super hollow foils. The Secret Forces is a really great set. I think this is a very undervalued set. Obviously, people kind of remember this set for the Necros stuff, original prints of Necros, but there's a lot of other really kind of hidden gems, like our only versions of Soul Release, only hollow version prints of Soul Release is super rare, and Soul Absorption as well, just kind of to name a few. There's a lot of really great hidden gems in this set. Really appreciate Secret Forces a lot. But anyway, getting back to Vanity's Emptiness, this is insanely cheap. I mean, here's a 2-stack here for under a bone. Near mint first edition, and really the numbers are kind of dwindling on the fat stacks. For the longest time, I feel like there was like an abundance of this, and there still relatively is, but like it's kind of hard to buy in bulk here. But everyone's going to go for the secrets, but you guys know the rule sequence. After the secrets run out, or when the secrets get to like a really uncomfortable price point, then people are going to start migrating to the next best thing, which is going to be subjectively the super rares. I mean, you could take into consider the original Starstrike Blast, I believe it was, commons first editions, but me personally, I'd want to play with the first edition Secret Forces super rare. So this is really, really good, and it's not too late to get this card. I'm telling you guys, I just traded for a couple of these. Again, first edition exclusively. Really great stuff. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is the cards that are not banned anymore, but they're at 1, which I think, if they come off the list, they're going to do some significant damage and really mix up the meta and just make the game a little bit more obscure. So obviously there's been the Zoodiac engine has been blended with a couple different current day deck cores, Drident being the ideal, this and Barrage, I guess, and Rapiteer, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. So this is still very, very cheap though. So this is the original prints, the high rarity secret rare. Of course, there was I think it was 2017 Megatins, which is on the mirror secret rare, but the other OG prints, so you're going to want to go for this one. And this card's still like 2 bones. There's a fat 4 stack right here. I've only played first editions for 2 bones, which is a really, really good deal. I think that's going to be stolen, taken out soon. And then near mints are still roughly around 2 bones. And there's 5+ pages available. I know it's only at 1 right now, but this has really great artwork. It's high-rated secret rare Zoodiac format, way back when Raging Tempest first came out in 2016. And ridiculous, infamous blowout history. So really awesome on that. Rapiteer is going to be next. So this is just super rare, again, a Raging Tempest, but this is one of the ideal key cards, and it's at 1 right now. If it gets lifted to 2 or 3, I think it's going to definitely do some pretty fat damage in the meta. And cards like Under a Bone for first editions, lightly played near mint, doesn't really matter. There's several stacks here and plenty of availability, but this is something to consider, as well as Barrage. Barrage is out of the 3, the trifecta of the 3, Rapiteer, Drident, and Barrage is the most expensive one. But considering back in the day when this was at 3, this card was like $100+ card for the longest time. Well, mostly just in Zoodiac format. And it's got really cool artwork. Again, it's a high rarity secret rare. Raging Tempest is a relatively old-ish set now. And starting market price for lightly played first edition is roughly around 4 bones when you factor in shipping. And then the first near mint first edition here is a 1 stack for roughly around a little over 4 bones. There's 5 pages of availability here, so pretty great stuff on that. Next is going to be Infernity Archer. Of course, we have the Ultra Rares out of Stardust Accelerator promos, so game promos, pretty cool. And, it's going between 2 and 9 bones. But ideally, I would go for, and this is another just huge card that I've been trailing and campaigning for. This and Gravekeeper Spy and Dark Necrofear are some of my all-time favorite dual terminal rares. And this, obviously behind the history merit behind Infernities, they're really good for a while. The whole Infernity format where Barrier was just annihilating everything. And it's a really old school fun deck, just like Gravekeepers is a really old school fun deck that I think has a relatively big following and player base. So, and it's dual terminal, and not only just dual terminal, it's dual terminal. Well, this is incorrect. So I'm pretty sure this came in rare. I think this may be an error. Maybe the Mexican is just an old fool, and I'm just getting this mixed up with Gravekeeper Spy, because I know Gravekeeper Spy came dual terminal rare. I could have swore that this came in rare, so I don't know if that's a mistake or I'm just going insane. But anyway, these are pretty much 2 bones all across the board, and there's a 7 stack here, it goes up to 3, and now there's only 3 pages. Again, this just used to be one of those cards that used to be so much in abundance, and slowly dual terminals are just getting choked out on the market. Next is going to be Armageddon Knight. So there's a couple different super rare versions. Obviously this is the best because it's the original. Surprisingly enough, this is a really good card, and I don't think it's gone past super. I think super is the highest rarity that we have. This is the OG print out of a very infamous set, Phantom Darkness. This was a completely blowout set. We got Dark Armed Dragon originally from this as a secret. And by the way, Dark Armed Dragon, the secret reprints from Battles of Legends, they've gone up to around 4-ish, 6 bones now. So I remember for the longest time that card used to be a bone, a half bone. It's very, very cheap, and that's just another card that I've invested very heavily in, and I'm happy that I bought in bulk. It was a bulk investment, so really good stuff on that. Anyway, so unlimiteds are not really anything. There are a couple bones here. There's 5+ pages on the market, and the first edition is a lightly played. It's going to be roughly around 3 bones when you factor in shipping. If you want near mint first editions for those deep hardcore collectors, we're gonna have to do a little bit of a deeper dive here. It looks like the first near mint was a 2-stack here for roughly around 7 bones. This card is a foolish for Dark Monsters, and it's at 1, obviously. Even if it comes off, it's just going to give exponential triggering effects, or starter, like ignition effects to Dark Deck, which is going to be really great. Just like Dark Grepher. So obviously everyone knows the Phantom Darkness original is a secret rare. This has always been relatively good money. Very old set, very infamous set. Really great artwork, really great rarity. And then we got a turbo pack, ultra rare, and a dual terminal, which a dual terminal is really great. So ideally for most affordability, I would definitely recommend DT6 because it's DT and it's one of the most affordable versions here on the market. But I would not discontinue, again, just like Armageddon Knight, the original Phantom Darkness super rare first editions. But I am curious. It looks like there's only 22 listings of the DT common, and this is a very, very healthy alternative. Again, if you want to pay 5+ bones for the original first edition supers, I think that going for the DTs there's no discredit in going for DTs over the supers. And there's a 9-stack here for a bone. This is not going to last. This is really incredible. It goes to 2 bones. There's a 23-stack. So there's actually a lot of availability. There's 24-stack, 23-stack, 7-stack, 8-stack, and these are going to go quick. This is a really popular card. Dark and light eccentric decks have the most abundant of pools of support, and this is just an amazing card. All right, so next is going to be Cyberstein. So this is currently at 1. It's not that this card was really blowout, and there's a lot of playability and popularity when it finally came off the list after ages and ages. But this is a secret rare out of Battles, Legends, Heroes, Revenge. And for the longest time, this card, again, was one of those cards that used to be under a bone. It was like a half bone, roughly around a bone. And I bought this card in abundance for near mint first editions just because the aesthetic behind this card. The history is really, really old. It used to be, it is a champion. I think it was Shonen Jump or a champion card as an ultra. Anyway, there wasn't really a lot of prints. And then we got this as they just out of nowhere. They just slapped us with a secret version, which I thought was really unexpected and awesome. It is very, very gorgeous. I love all I think roses in the background here. And obviously reminds you of Frankenstein or something. Anyway, really great stuff. It's gone up a little bit. It's, pretty much on 3-ish bones across the board, and it's really weird. I hate when people do this. I hate when people have really weird shipping added and stuff. And anyway, so it's pretty much, yeah, it's 3. I hate doing math. I have to do all these weird math things. I'm really terrible at math. So anyway, this is just a really great card. I don't know. I wanted to give it some love. Next is going to be Trishula. Obviously, we got Freezing Change, Structure Deck released. So this has been reprinted to hell. There's so many prints, a lot of really great prints. I mean, we have the Ultimate out of Astral Pack 8. We have the Dual Terminal 4 Ultras, which are my personal favorite. I don't think there's anything that's ever going to take over this price. There's obviously the brand new Starlight rare that came out. There is a High Speed Raiders secret rare. There's the original Hidden Arsenal 4 secret rare, which I personally is one of my favorites. I mean, obviously, Dual Terminal is my favorite, but it's just ridiculously expensive, just like the Ultimates and the Starlight rare. I personally don't like Starlight rares, player preference. I totally get, there's a collector's market behind it, and I think that's cool that Konami opened up a brand new collector's market with the Starlight rares. But there's also Duelist Saga, and yeah, several different secret prints. So there is no shortage of getting yourself a nice looking Macrocosmos is going to be next. So this and Skill Drain, I've been waiting for Skill Drain and Macrocosmos to come to at least 2 for the longest time. I feel like it's been forever since Konami hit these to 1. And these are just some of the all-time most completely toxic, I guess. Toxic sounds kind of negative. I'm trying to support these cards because I'm a big anti-meta player. Anyway, these are really, really important floodgates. And completely unparalleled. And anyway, so there's a Dark Rev Super, which is, going for some fat price points. Ideally, my favorite is the DT Rare. Again, you guys know I love DT. So DT Rares are anywhere between 4 or 5 bones. Legendary Collection 2 donned an Ultra Rare, which is, around 4 bones. And then Mirror Effect Raw Yellow Mega Pack and Legendary Collection 2, they kind of ran parallel. Just like Legendary Collection 3 and 4, they produced and manufactured a lot of the same cards in the same rarity to kind of do a double stack layering, so players had more of an opportunity to get these really great cards and great rarities. So completely up to you guys on that. Skill drain, pretty much across the board. Doesn't matter if you have a common or the Lost Art, the very disgusting looking terrible rarity of Ultra Rare Lost Art, or the Booster Pack 8. They're all good money, and for quite a while now, this has always kind of been really good money, which is kind of interesting. This card at 1, but it just shows the sheer power of this card. This is a really, really complete, just blowout card. And obviously, ideally, I think it's safe to say the majority of players would prefer, like myself, the DT commons. They are just commons, but they are DT, so they're not really common. They're DT common, which is better. And, those are going between, 13 and 11 bones. But I am very curious what the first edition originals, because I would not discontinue or discredit or forget about the original Dark Crisis. Again, part of the 13 core sets, what I consider Gen 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Really great collectability purposes behind that, specifically for the first editions. And I really want to see what the first editions are going for. There's 5 pages here on the market, and let's see if we can find. All right, so first edition only played, starting market price is 10 bones, and let's see if we can find. Oh, which already went to the last page. So on near mint is, I hate this. How do they do this shipping thing? Like, just price your cards how much you want to sell them for. Anyway. So it's like 12, 13, like around 14 bones or so for near mint. So really great stuff. And next is going to be Gateway of the Six. So I'm a really, really big Six Samurai fan. I really love Six Samurais a lot. I've grown to just really appreciate the deck over the years, and it was like a deck that was like a really big deal, like back in like Storm Ragnarok, Extreme Victory era, and maybe all the way up to like Duelist Revolution-ish era before it kind of got watered down. It wasn't way later that it got watered down with the list stuff. But anyway, so this is the original super rare out of Star Strike Overdrive. And I think this is at 1 right now, and I think if this even gets lifted to 2, I think it'll definitely give Samurais a big push. I'm not saying that 6 Samurais are going to take over the meta if this comes to 2, but it's definitely going to make a significant impact for 6 Samurai players. I really want to check out what the first editions are going for. So it looks like there's no first editions on the first several pages here. And the first edition I played is going to be roughly around 7 bones. So 1 stack, and then if you want near mint, you have to go all the way to the last page, and it's 18 bones for near mint, which is also a 1 stack. So interesting. It's definitely competitive to get first edition prints for Gateway. Next, 1 day a piece. So this is the super rare version of OTS Pack 4. Obviously, there was, I think it was Photon Shockwave on a common. This would be the ideal choice to go for. And this card has gone up quite a bit. For the longest time, like I was picking these up for like a bone all across the board. And I have several of these. And I really am just a huge advocate for draw power. I think draw power in any deck, doesn't matter if you're playing a burn deck, if you're playing an anti-meta deck, if you're playing Dinosaurs or Shaddolls or Jinzo Returner / Dot Machina, whatever it may be, draw power is really, really important. And even though this is like it helps your opponent draw too, there's decks that does very, very well with, just like Upstart Goblin, which I'm going to get into here in a little bit. So anyway, and it's gone up now. Now it's like about 4 bones before you factor in shipping, and there's not really a lot of stacks. There's like a 3 stack here, and then that's like it. And then there's only 2 pages of this. So kind of interesting dwindle on 1 day a piece for the supers. All right, so next is going to be the final card in the showcasing for you guys tonight, and it's going to be the infamous, the legendary Upstart Goblin. This card is completely amazing. So it's been at 1 for the longest time. Everyone knows the theory about running a 37 card deck with this card at 3. And obviously the first holo foil that we got was Legendary Collections 3. Again, just an amazing set. I can have nothing but praise for this set. As an ultra rare, which, I want to go ahead and see what the first editions are going for. And again, this being, the highest rarity that we have, I mean, there was a Turbo Pack Super Rare, which technically is lower rarity but harder to get, so like higher collectability, if that makes sense. But there's also the Secret Slayer Super Rares, which I'm going to get into in a moment here. So these are starting market prices about 8 bones for lightly played first edition. And then if you want a near mint first edition, there's a 2 stack here for roughly around 9-ish bones. So that's pretty good and great. It's not really so much that it's an ultra rare. It's more so that it's from Legendary Collections. A Legendary Collection that, more specifically, infamous Legendary Collection 3 Yugi's World. So I want to talk about the Secret Slayer Super Rare, though. That is like my ideal choice for this card. Again, here's the 2 Turbo Pack 8 original Super Rares, which are holding relatively good. They're good money. But I think it's very foolish to go ahead and buy this super rare version for an exponential higher dollar amount than the Secret Slayer super rares, because this card is, in my opinion, it looks aesthetically better because it has the updated foiling, so the actual spell attribute symbol here is actually hollowed out. And these look just as good, if not even better, than the Turbo Pack Supers, and they're insanely cheap. And for the longest time, these were pretty much 2 bones. Ever since they came out, ever since Secret Slayers dropped, everyone freaked out because this had the Golden Lord and the Eldritch cards, and everyone went crazy for the Eldritch cards. But I feel like people kind of walked over this, and out of this whole entire set, I think even beyond Golden Lord, this was the MVP, and this is what's going to carry on. And no discredit to Eldritch or Golden Lord. I think that's it's a competitive card and all that, but this is a really great card, and I've been advocating to invest in this for quite some time now, and I'm still to this day. It hasn't really increased too much. I mean, here's a fat stack of 216. It's been a while since I've seen someone have over 50 of these. This is 216 is a very, very bolsterous, incredible number here, and this is just about 2.5 bones here. Again, pretty much all across the board, near mint first editions. Again, if you can get this for around this price point or lower, to around 2 bones, because for the longest time that's pretty much what it averaged out, and now it still kind of is, probably just because there's just so much of an abundance on the market. But as time goes on and we get further and further away, and again, this is really a super long haul investment on this one, I think that this is just gonna go for a significant amount higher than 2 bones. So that would be my ideal choice. About the last thing that I want to show you guys is the original OG Gen 1 Set 3, again, infamous Magic Ruler versions with the original Magic stamps, first editions exclusively. The print that started it all right here. So if you're not going to go for the first edition supers from Secret Slayers, I think, or it's up to you. I think equally you could go for the Ultra Legendary Collection 3 Ultras first editions exclusively, and that would be a sound investment too. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what the OG print first editions are going for. So it looks like the first edition is 4 bones. Once you factor in shipping, it's a lightly played. And if you guys want to go all in, Near mints are roughly around the same price. They're roughly around five-ish bones after you factor in shipping. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been part of my life for almost 2 decades. Link below is going to be to my Facebook. I would love for any and each of you to add me. I would love to talk to you guys about anything Yu-Gi-Oh! Related. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an amazing hobby. There's a lot of really great things that this game can bring to whoever decides to invest in this. And I hope you guys are making some fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh! Investments yourself. This has been a showcasing by The White Mexican, and I will see you in the next video.